Hi everyone, this time I would like to share the information on cyber threats. I got friends in both telco ISP and financial industries. I noticed that there is a slight difference on their interpretation of cyber threats. There is no question of who is right or who is wrong. The interpretation is mainly derived from the nature of business and the environment. First of all, let's recap on the basic concept of IT risk. IT risk is the output of sum of vulnerability value multiplied by threat value, then multiplied by probability of occurrence, and then multiplied by asset value. So, you must have the information on all these factors: threat, vulnerability, asset, and probability of occurrence in order to determine on whether the IT risks are high or medium or low. So for now, let's focus on threats. In some companies that I have worked for, they place cyber threats as part of IT threats under the category of cyber attack. In my opinion, if we want to present to the board of directors and senior management, we should use less technical terms such as unpatched system, obsolete technology, and educate policy, no vendors SLA, no system maintenance, and cyber attack. We can use Secure Controls Framework threat catalog as a reference. If required to have more details, we can go about discussing cyber attack from the perspective of cyber threats such as DOS, DDoS, spoofing, man-in-the-middle attack, reply attack, TCP session hijacking, and attack against encrypted data. There are other cyber threats such as web defacement, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, and etc. But let's focus on these basic threats first. What would you do in this scenario? Can I have your thought? In that given scenario, I would first identify cyber threats that could affect the company. Number one, DOS, DDoS attack, which include SAN flood, smooth attack, and pin of death. SAN flood is the exploitation of TCP three-way handshake. Three-way handshake means TCP control code, SYNC, SYNC ACK, and ACK. The attacker exploits this TCP control code by flooding the network with SYNC so the network becomes congested and as the result, end user unable to connect to the server. Smooth attack happen when the attacker flood the network with ICMP, or in simple word, ping command. The attacker writes a script to automatically send a lot of ping commands until the network becomes congested. Pin of death is when the attacker uses IP packet fragmentation technique to crash remote system. For example, maximum size of packet sent to the remote system is 65K, but the attacker managed to send 100K until the remote server cannot accept the connection and crash. Number two, spoofing. IP address spoofing is the creation of IP address with a fake source address. Web spoofing is the creation of fake web address. Few years ago, there was a hacker who created the fake online banking website, which looks exactly the same as one of the major local banks. As for ARP spoofing, this is how it works. The attacker scans your network and able to get two IP addresses. One is your workstation and one is your router. The attacker uses a spoofing tool to send ARP responses. This tool advertises the MAC address for both your router and workstation. This advertised MAC address is actually belong to the attacker's machine. Both your router and workstation assume they are communicating with each other based on the fake advertised MAC address, but no, they are actually connecting to the attacker's machine. DNS spoofing is when the attacker alters DNS records and causes the online traffic to be redirected to the fake website instead the official and legal one. Third cyber threat is man-in-the-middle attack. There are two types: ICMP redirects and DNS poisoning. In this kind of attack, the attacker places himself in between two communicating hosts and listens in on the session. So always remember to configure your router to ignore ICMP redirects packets. Fourth cyber threat is reply attack. Reply attack is when the attacker circumvents authentication mechanism. This is how it works. The attacker records authentication message from a legitimate user. Then the attacker reuses that message to impersonate as a legitimate user and gain access to the system. Fifth, TCP session hijacking. TCP session hijacking happens when attacker used to make the victims believe they are connected to a trusted host when in fact the victims are communicating with the attacker. The attacker does this by manipulating TCP session of the victim using tools such as Ettercap and Hunt. Six, the last one, attack against encrypted data. This kind of threat is when the attacker manipulates weak encryption key, launch brute force mathematical or password guessing kind of attack, or another term is dictionary attack. The attacker uses an automatic tool that tries the combination of password. So remember to use a strong password. In OWASP framework, communication verification requirement, it is a compulsory to use strong encryption. Before I end, there are three new cyber threats you must know. First, multi-cloud hopping. Second, attack on backup system. And third, third-party risk. So, based on this information, you must develop cyber resilience framework and strategy, cyber incident response plan, adopt and implement frameworks such as NIST cybersecurity. Thank you for watching my video. Hope you have enjoyed and learned something from it. Take care.